Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel. Chelsea have just drawn 0-0 at home to Fulham, and I just spent the entirety of this week in build up to this game being really excited, just absolutely buzzing to see all these new signings in action, to see Reece James back from injury, and all for nothing really, because we saw one of the most stale performances of the season so far, and that really says something because we have been, obviously, as you can probably imagine, absolutely piss poor this season for the vast majority of the season. I don't want to be too negative because obviously, there's a lot of new faces, a lot of new signings in that, team, and obviously they're going to need time to gel, and Graham Potter is going to need time to embed these guys into his system. But there's still too many average players in this Chelsea team. If you'd watched that match today, there's a few I can name which I'll get onto in a minute. Even after spending £600 million in this, season overall, there's still so many average players left in this Chelsea team that just aren't good enough in my opinion. And before I actually get into discussing Chelsea, I just want to say props to Fulham. Think that even though Chelsea made it easy for them in terms of how poorly we played, I think Fulham were very decent in terms of the fact they were organised, they were structured, they were very resolute, and I think they played a decent game. So fair play to Fulham. They are a quality side in the Premier League, obviously. They are that team this season, that one promoted team that every single season does tend to, finish in and about the top half of the table, and I think they will do this season, and as I said, they look a very organised and structured and resolute team. So fair play Fulham, and they deserve the result overall, in fairness. And in terms of Chelsea's performance, I just think it was, stiff. I think it was very, very laboured. I just don't think it clicked at all in this game, which is, as I said, understandable given the, amount of new signings we do have in terms of Enzo Fernandez, Noni Madueke, Mikhailo Mudryk, even Benoit Badiashile, who's, only playing his third game. And obviously a lot of those players will be playing with players like Havertz and Mount and all those players that have already been there as well, but they're only playing them for, the first or second or third time. So obviously it is going to, not really click instantly, I think it's fair to say. But it just looked so poor today. I think that the one outstanding positive from today was Enzo Fernandez. I think he played really well. I think if we'd won the match, he would have been the outright man of the match, no questions asked. I think we've got ourselves a very good player by the looks of it. He looks like he controlled the game from midfield from our perspective. He moves the ball really well. He's so good at tight spaces. He has a bit of a zip to his passes as well, and was surprisingly good in terms of his defensive play as well. I was pleasantly surprised at how good he was in terms of winning his duels. I thought he won his duels absolutely brilliant and won nearly every tackle he went in for, to be fair to him. And I think if we get someone like, a Moises Caicedo or a Romeo Lavia, someone who can do a little bit more and help him out with the dirty work in midfield, I think that we could really unlock an absolute talent in Enzo Fernandez, because as I said, he just looks like the complete midfielder, and in my opinion, from what I can gauge of him today, arguably I think he looks like a more advanced version of Jorginho. I think his ability to move the ball, I think, is a lot less limited than Jorginho's. No disrespect to Jorginho, because I do really like him and I think he will be a very good signing for Arsenal, but I just think Enzo Fernandez looks like he has that little more in him. And in terms of his defensive play as well, now obviously Jorginho statistically was a very good defender, but there was too many times he was getting bypassed in midfield, and I think that Enzo Fernandez was kind of an upgrade on him to a certain extent in terms of both those attributes I just listed. I think Benoit Badiashile and Thiago Silva once again had a really good game, especially Badiashile. We won't mention Thiago Silva too much because he's just like, world class every single week, but I thought Badiashile once again looked really composed, looked like he belonged in that centre-back partnership, and I think looked like a real presence once again, and obviously his on-the-ball ability for a centre-back is absolutely top-notch. He's just an absolute Rolls Royce of a centre-back, and hopefully he can continue this going, and we will have ourselves a really good centre-back for the future. But enough of the positives for Chelsea, because we have of course just drawn 0-0 against Fulham at home, which is never a positive result in any context whatsoever. And as I said, as I alluded to earlier in the video, we just have too many players that are just unfortunately not quite caught up to it. And the number one, I don't want to single anyone out, but Conor Gallagher, I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says, he is not good enough technically. How would I describe it? He literally is. He's literally a cardio merchant. Literally, he had a good cardio session today, Conor Gallagher, in fairness to him, and he just has absolutely zero technical ability on the ball. He looks like he stumbles around playing with the ball. My brother even made a point in that game, which I thought was so true. He makes football look way harder than it actually is. And look, I actually think he's been okay recently in terms of the fact I think he had good games against Crystal Palace and Liverpool at Anfield in our last two games, but I just don't think he's good enough technically at all for this level, and that's why I would have taken that 40 million from Everton and absolutely ran. I think that might go down as another one of the cases of, do you remember in 2019 when Bayern bid, what was it, like 80 or 90 million for Hudson-Odoi? If we could turn back time, that would be one of the first things we change. I also think Mason Mount was again really poor, and to be honest, I don't know what's happened to Mason Mount, and I really hate criticising him because I absolutely absolutely love Mason Mount, and I think on his day he's an absolute baller, but this season it's just not happening for him. He looks like he's really low in confidence at this moment in time. Things are just not clicking for him whatsoever, and that's why I think we probably should, drop him and leave him on the bench for a bit. Let him kind of get back to his own, and João Felix is back next week. Hallelujah, the God is back amongst us. So next weekend against West Ham, I play Felix in the 10, I play Havertz up front, even though I think Havertz was alright today, didn't really pull any trees out of the ground. I play Mudryk on the left, and I play Madueke on the right, who I think actually had quite a decent game on that right hand side for Chelsea today when he came off the bench and looked like he had a little bit of spark. But yeah, I just think we need to take Mason Mount out of the limelight for a bit, and he needs a little bit of a spell on the bench to recover within himself, to be honest, more than anything. Reece James wasn't exactly, his best today, to be honest, and we will cut him a bit of slack because he's coming back from, a 2-month injury, and yeah, obviously he was only fit to play 60 minutes according to Graham Potter and the fitness team, so yeah, we can't really judge him, and hopefully he gets back to his best as soon as possible. But yeah, just a really poor result, a really frustrating game overall, a really boring game from a neutral's perspective, I would imagine. Yeah, it's going to take time for things to click. I just find it really strange, if anything, the fact that Enzo Fernandez and, the new signings were the main ones that looked like they were actually clicking in this team, considering the fact that the likes of Mount, Havertz, Gallagher, Ziyech, who I actually think had a decent enough game. But I just find it so ironic and strange, like I said, that the likes of Fernandez and the new signings seem like they've clicked more in this team than the ones who've been there from the start. But yeah, anyway, before I ramble on for too long, because obviously I don't want to make this video too long, because who the fuck is going to watch a 10-minute video about a 0-0 draw? So yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that. Leave your thoughts on the game, Chelsea fans, in the comment section below. I'm really interested to see how you guys viewed this game. And yeah, leave a like if you did enjoy, it'd be massively appreciated as per usual. Helps me out more than you guys could imagine. And also if you could subscribe to the channel as well, that would also be massively appreciated. We are looking to hit 1,800 subscribers, and we're like 5 subscribers off it at this moment in time. So 5 of you, just hit that subscribe button please. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video, and yeah, we move on to West Ham next Saturday.